Some of the prepping that we do here in Washington, at least what I do, is I collect water, emergency water, and I do so off of this small roof. And if you look at this roof, you can see that it's not very big. But in Western Washington, it doesn't have to be that big to fill all these containers. And it will fill these containers and then some, way more. But now that it's gotten back into the rainy season, at least here, well, it has been actually for a month, it's time to get rid of this water that I've collected last year or over the winter and spring and begin refilling. So the first thing I need to do is pop cork, and I do these one at a time. Pop the spout at the very bottom, let that drain out, clean it all out, and then I fill that one back up. And then once that's full, then I pop the next one and fill that one back up. One of the very first things I need to do is make sure that that gutter is as fairly clean as possible. There's going to be bird poop, maybe a little bit of debris up there, some pollen. But if I can minimize that, then I minimize the algae growth that's in these. I also put a little bit of bleach in these to keep the algae growth at bay. And this is water that if I used it in an emergency, I would definitely still have to boil it just because of possible bird droppings up on top there. So I'm going to start draining the first crate. First thing you want to make sure is to let the bleeder valve, or that big cap, take the cap off, or at least get it loose. So I've actually drained one of these before, and you would not believe the power of suction. It will crunch these things down and bend this metal. It has no problem doing that. The atmosphere actually puts a lot of pressure against these things when these start a vacuum. So make sure to pull that top cap off before you release the valve. I like to just get a little bit of flow started so that it does not erode the ground in front of it, and that it doesn't just create a humongous flood. Although this area will get super saturated and there'll be a couple of puddles, but it's not going to create any damage. Check out the roof here real well. Make sure that it's good and clean and pretty much free of a bunch of leaves. Leaves is really what I don't want in there. And any kind of really big bird splatters. You know what I'm talking about. The roof doesn't look that bad, but it's got a little bit of algae growth on it. And I know the gutter is pretty algaed up. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of cleaning with the gutter at least. I think I'll just spray some of that algae fungicide that I was using on the fifth wheel. and let it drip down into the gutter, and I should be just fine. Clean both of them at the same time. Each one of these containers holds 275 gallons at the tick mark at the very top. So I'm pretty sure that as full as I get these things, which is clear up through the very lid, it's right around 300 gallons. So that's quite a bit. I've got 6 of them. Anyone do the math real quick? 6 of them. 6 times 300. Oh, what is that, like 1,800 gallons? It's still only about half drained. And it has pretty much flooded this whole area. It would not do this in the summertime. It would soak into the ground pretty quick because it's fairly dry here sometimes. At least it was this summer. And it's already been raining, so that's why it's not soaked into the ground that fast. Besides the fact that the water table around here is pretty high. Well, it's probably rained enough in the last 3 days to fill 3, maybe 4 of these bins. This is flooding from just the rain. That's not from the bins. But what I've decided to do is at least start filling this one back up. It's not actually going to be filling. It's going to be, I want a few inches in there so that I can wash out that gook that's at the bottom. And so I'll be filling just a few inches in there, putting some bleach in there to get a heavy dose. And that'll clear up that stuff at the very bottom, and then we'll begin filling. Not to worry, Washington rains quite a lot on the west side. As you can see, there's plenty more where that came from, even just today. So I'll be able to fill all of these up, no problem. The trick about this setup is having 1, 2, 3, and then the length of a 4th pipe. You have the first one that goes to the first bin, and then you have a coupler with a number 2 pipe to go to the second bin, the 3rd pipe with a coupler to go to the 3rd bin, and then you have this big long one here to go to the 4th. And then with the long one, you can just add another one of these to go to the 5th, and another one to go to the 6th. And I could actually do just a couple more of these, but I really don't need any more than about 6 of these, or at least I hope I never do. Well, just overnight, I don't know how much it rained, but I'm already up probably, what, 50 gallons in there. Yeah, 50 gallons. So I'm gonna have to get some bleach down in there and wash this out, because I don't want it to get diluted too much. Already 50 gallons is quite a bit. All right, and got it pretty well cleaned out. A little bit of stuff still left in there, but I know I wasn't going to get all of it. Time to add a little bit of bleach, close up the valve, and start filling this tank. Well, getting the gutter cleaned out. It's looking pretty good. Now this does beg the question, if you got so much rain in Washington, especially western Washington, why do you need to collect the water? Well, yeah, we do have a lot of rain here, and there is a pretty good sized river about half mile away from here, which I could collect water in. But it's just better to have it right here on my own land where I don't have to leave here and go get buckets and try to transport it, because water is very heavy. And it's just a lot easier to have it right here on my own property, especially in the summer months where it could rain very, very little for a 3-month stretch. And if something was to happen to the grid, I would need a little bit of water to help me through that rough time. If I really had to, yeah, I could go down to the creek or the river and collect water, but I really don't want to have to do that. This is Dave Anderson with Helicool's Helipad. I hope that your prepping goes very well this winter and you are prepped for the coming future, whatever that might be. Until next time, be safe and God bless.